Welcome back to the Joyage Kingdom. I'm Cage, your guide. I'll be replacing the Level History Side Dread for now, giving you a break from the constant internal monologue that is the human mind. I want to say first, thanks for listening and viewing on whatever platform you're on. If you haven't already, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, join the kingdom. If you're in Twitter Spaces, thumbs up. Let's get this fucking space going. If you guys are ready for this fucking space, hit that bottom right icon, the message icon, retweets, likes, shares. Best way to support the space. Today, I am joined by none other than the grandfather of NFT YouTube, probably, if not everyone's favorite and first YouTuber in the NFT space, and hasn't done many interviews. So I'm really excited to chat with him today. Giancarlo, welcome to the show, man.
Thanks, man. Joyage Kingdom. Yo, I love that little intro you have.
Thank you.
You're calling us all kind of psychotic just to get started off.
Just
I know you have voices keeping you up at night, but for 20 minutes, quiet down and listen to this
100%.
podcast. Yeah,
100%. For 20 minutes, we're going to talk NFTs, talk about life, talk about the mind of Giancarlo. Dude, a lot of shit's happened since we started. I started YouTube in like August of 2021, something like that. You got started somewhere in that ballpark, right? Maybe before.
I think maybe my first video was maybe April 2021.
Damn. Okay, so yeah, you were in early.
Yeah.
Were you in on all the craze beforehand? Were you in like the clubhouses and stuff?
No, I
No?
never did Clubhouse. So I basically started paying attention deeply to the NFT space in early 2021. And I was like, okay, I want to, build an audience of some kind. And I really only paid attention to Twitter. Um, but it seemed at the time like everyone was already established, right? Yeah, like all these like crypto OG DeFi people were already kind of the big names there. And so I was like, all right, that seems kind of, done, even though looking back, like that was, the very beginning. And I'm a huge YouTube consumer. And so that just seemed like the next logical step for me. And there was no one really making videos. I think the only one at the time was Maddie, DCL blogger.
Mm.
And he was mainly doing like like Decentraland and other metaverse platforms. And so I was like, all right, let me join him and I'll just start making videos. It was like around the time like it was right after the Beeple stuff. So the art kind of made sense. And then it was like heading into the first roadmap collections. Like you had like the Gary V Friend stuff, you had like Bored Apes. And so I saw kind of the meta changing and that was very interesting. It went from art to like whatever else we want to call them, kind of like fundraising projects. But so that's when I started making videos. Yeah.
True. Can you tell me about the theme? Do you remember? Like, I definitely remember 2021 fucking Euphoria. It was unlike anything I've experienced in my entire life. Do you remember like the themes of 2021 versus 2022 versus how you're going to be attacking 2023?
Yeah. So 2021 was, oh, you disappeared. There you go. Second camera. 2021 was like no one knew what the hell they were doing, and every purchase of any kind at the beginning felt insane. Like even buying like a Bored Ape for whatever $1,000 at the time, looking back, you're like that you should have bought 1,000 of them, but you felt kind of stupid. Like part of you was like, what am I doing? Like if I show people that I just spent $1,000 on this JPEG, none of that makes sense. And then just when you started to see people, get 6-figure payouts, 7-figure payouts on the punks, that just attracted everyone's attention. And whenever you get something like that, where you have these like unexpected wins, you'll get a bunch of copycats. And so everyone was like, no one, like I said, no one understood it, why these things were pumping. And so all these copycats got some amount of attention, more than they should have. And really that was what happened. And so you had like all these tiny collections, they all started pumping. You could make like almost no bad decision. Everything was just like doing well. And the space was still tiny. It was like hundreds of thousands of people.
Yeah.
But these collections were even smaller, right? They're like tens of thousands or single digit thousands supply. And so that kind of went throughout the rest of the year. 2022, dude, all this stuff is like one big blur at this point. So I'm trying to like differentiate the different seasons in my mind. 2022, I think the beginning was pretty insane as well. Like January, I think was the biggest month on OpenSea. And just, the meta would keep changing. People would keep pumping new narratives. And then just riding that into the crash, which was when, April, May, something like that. And then, now it's just really been figuring out as this like profile pic meta dies out, as this like 10K standard roadmap collection meta like no longer works. I think it's pretty interesting time where everyone's figuring out what's next. And personally, I have like my own thesis on what that might be. I don't think it's really these scarce supply collections. I think it's going to be more these mega supply projects coming from either brands like Reddit or Starbucks, or creators with large audiences, and maybe like games too. And I think those will drive the space like beyond what anywhere we are right now. Look, we have like 300, 400,000 people. Like at the end of the day, it's tiny. Like any big project that succeeds will completely change the game, right? I
And
don't
it'll
know.
be
I'm ranting at
different.
this point, but
No, I was gonna say, well, it'll be different too. Like by the time we're at a place where potentially your thesis comes true, and these bigger collections do become like whatever it is, like the thing. It won't be the same situation as today. Like a lot of the arguments that we see in like Twitter Spaces, for example, are difficult because some people are kind of futurists and they think in a future setting, like me, like I'm a fucking dreamer, like my head's in the clouds like 24/7. That's why I'm so
yeah.
stoked for like a metaverse in the future. And then there's some people who are, thinking very much in today's terms and like, well, that doesn't work because this, and you're like, well, maybe it will though. And like that's curious to me because you went with the bigger collections. We just saw like open editions go absolutely fucking viral
Right.
all over OpenSea and Twitter, and people are talking about it. People are very, very torn on what their thoughts on it because they're like, if there's too many, nobody cares, and it's like people have to decide to care, and like which ones will matter. What are your thoughts on the whole open edition?
Well, I think it's even deeper than the open edition thing. I think it's more so the current like audience that is in Web3 or in NFT specifically has a very specific understanding of NFTs and what they want to get out of them, right? Like they're here mostly, if we're honest, for money and for the short term pump. Um, and I think sometimes we optimize for that crowd a little too much. Like creators, I think, watch
Yeah.
the people that are currently buying NFTs and they're like, all right, how do I make my project attractive to them? And a lot of times that's changing the different structures of your NFT in a way that might appeal to them, but is going to limit your long term sustainability, right?
Mhm.
And so yeah, so this current audience, I feel like a core principle of NFTs for them is that it has to be hyper scarce. Because if it's not hyper scarce, it's a lot harder for it to pump. It's a lot harder for me to make money off of it. And so at the end of the day, what's the point? Because that's why we're here.
Mhm.
And so anything that goes in a different direction than that, they start fighting or they start sort of poking fun of. What's the point of this? This is never going to go anywhere. Oh, okay, a million other people own what I own. And so I think the current people might have a certain opinion on all these new trends that don't go through this like hyper scarce like funnel.
Mhm.
But then everyone else coming in later on that are more consumers that are going to be spending $10 for an NFT that they might like or $20, uh, that's what they're going to be after, I think.
Sure.
And these are not people that are going to be spending thousands or tens of thousands of dollars on a single JPEG because they hope that it can then sell for $100,000. That I think is like a very small niche. We basically presented that to the world for like a year or two,
Mhm.
and 99% of them rejected it. They're like, that's weird,
Yeah.
or a scam, which is like the intuition.
What
So
like role are you trying to play like in the future? Are you trying to like stay is YouTuber like the dream goal, the dream job, or do you like when we think about it, like Brett Malinowski, another NFT YouTuber and Web3 AI tech YouTuber I talked to the other day, he was talking about how he's very skeptical on if like the Web3 culture of like where we're in right now will be here in a few years. And that one is a pretty tough argument in the sense that like, yeah, if this place does go mainstream, how big of a little niche community do we have of like degens, I guess you could call us? And like, will there be a place? What are you trying to play? Are you trying to work with these companies? Are you trying to work in a company or start your own? I know you have a new NFT project. I even tried to mint one and get lucky and try and get a legendary. I was unsuccessful. But yeah, what do you think about all that?
I mean, I've been experimenting over the past year or so. I have launched a couple of things. Prometheans, which was kind of an open edition but gamified, like on-chain game. I've launched Midnight Labs, which is more of a community.
Mhm.
And I think what I'm looking forward to right now, I'm about to launch something in a couple days as well.
Oh,
And the idea here is that I want to start creating or laying out the foundation for what a curator brand would look like in NFTs. And this is something that I wanted to do since I started the channel. If you look at any other cultural niche, you have sneakers, you have music, you have whatever. They all have their curator brands that help, capture the desire of the latest, things that are for sale, and try to spin stories around them and really explain them to people who are either enthusiasts or just learning the space. And these would be like Hype Beast or Sneaker Freaker. There's a million of these complex, and they play a very good pivotal role, I think, because people look to these curators to give them some kind of guidance because there's like this sea of information.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
what I learned when I made the channel is that NFTs are very unique, and it's very hard to do that the way it's set up right now. And there's a few reasons. Like one is these are kind of, yes, they're cultural objects, but they're also like financial instruments in a way. And so the tone and the weight of what you're saying is different than when you're just talking about some album or sneaker.
Yeah.
The other thing is that there's bias everywhere, and so immediately as soon as you talk about a small collection, people are gonna say you're shilling or you're fudding, depending on where you weighed in. And because the meta was built around these like hyper scarce collections, the influence of a single voice was pretty great. Like if one person did come out with a video just like shitting on some tiny collection, that could have an impact on the price. And so that always felt weird, right? Especially if it's like a small artist.
Mhm.
Like how do you criticize what they're doing in a way that doesn't like affect them and everyone that holds that NFT that now is gonna just like jump on you. And so it took me a while to sort of figure that out. I think we are moving out of that meta a little bit, and so we will be able to talk about bigger projects where a single voice has a smaller impact, and maybe everything's a little less speculative. And so this what I'm going to launch in the next couple of days is sort of my first step going towards that path where it's like, okay, I do want to create this curator brand. I'm going to try to figure it out, probably make mistakes, but I think it's absolutely necessary. It doesn't really exist right now, but it is necessary because everyone's sort of either afraid of getting a little bit of FUD by talking about specific NFTs, or they just don't know really what they're talking about. And so I'm gonna take a stab at it.
Dude, I mean, I feel like 2023 for me is similar in nature of how I'm attacking it. Like, I feel like in 2021, 2022, I was a bit too nervous to drop anything just because I wasn't sure of the ramifications in the sense, like, I didn't know if they would last a long time or not. Like, I would observe a lot of people and see that, well, dude, the fucking memory span of us, of all of us, is very, very short, and me included. Like, there'll be something that I'm like, "Holy crap, this is crazy," and 2 weeks
Hmm.
later, I'll be like, "Huh? Like, what was that? What was that announcement I was so excited about like a week ago?"
Yeah.
And they fly back so fucking fast though. And also, I was gonna ask this earlier, I completely forgot. Are you holding any OG projects still from like 2021? I remember in like a lot of the videos, you'd see the cryptos in the picture
Still
frames.
have cryptos. Yeah, it's still here on the wall. There's two of them still. Just one's out of view. But yeah, I still have cryptos. In 2021, that might be. I mean, I have a couple of like of those like archaeological NFTs.
Man's
Like
gonna eat the rock.
nah, um, curio cards. I mean, I have like rare Pepes, like ones that are far back.
Yeah.
But from 2021, I think it's just cryptos at
Damn.
this point.
Just cryptos. Why do
I
you remember
sold
why
them
you
all.
bought that?
Why what?
Do you remember why you bought that slash why you held it?
I like Gremplin. I was following him from he was a part of the Nouns team, and so I
Mm,
followed his art, and so I liked him. I thought it was a cool kind of not too serious collection at a time when everyone was trying to create these like really like the next Disney and the most robust roadmap you can think of, and the Metaverse project. This was like just a cool kind of crypto, almost inside joke. And it was CC Zero, which I was a fan of at the time, and well, I still am. And so yeah, just at the time, it wasn't, I think I bought in at like 0.25, 0.5 or something.
Oh,
So
damn. Okay, you got in hella early.
it was like the first day. Yeah. And so it definitely would have, I would need a better thesis if I was coming in at
Uh,
like the 10 ETH or 15 ETH that they eventually got up to. Uh, but yeah, it didn't feel so bad.
Dude, I remember there was like, I forget, there's multiple projects. Cryptos was in there and people were tweeting in like October. They were like cryptos to 25 ETH by December or something. I saw so many of those tweets. Why'd you hold? Because the cryptos got up to question mark. They got up really, really, really high, right?
They got, I think, to like 15 ETH at one
That's what I
point,
thought. 10, 15 ETH. How did
which
you
is
hold
just,
on to them?
dude, we were all drinking Kool-Aid at the time. Nothing made sense. Like if you were to say, if someone were to say, well, it's actually going into the 40 ETH, you'd be like, maybe,
Mm,
yeah, like it
that's a good point.
might.
Actually.
Like, why
That's
not?
a good
That also, like, it was just this kind of, it was a tribe that I liked. And so I was holding it not just for the gains, although obviously if it goes up to 15 ETH, looking back, you should just take the profit. But like, I like this tribe, but 15 ETH is 15. And if ETH was like 3,000 or 4,000, so that makes it even worse.
fuck.
Um, but yeah, I round tripped it in a way, you can say that.
Damn.
But another thing which I learned along the way is that if you put something on your walls, a lot harder to sell.
You're right, dude. You're right.
And
100%
it's
right.
so dumb. Like I've lost thousands of dollars just by putting NFTs, not just the cryptos, but other NFTs that I've had on walls where I'm like, dude, I already got this framed. It's up here. Like my friends have been here. They've seen that thing on my wall. So now I don't know if I'm ever going to put NFTs or at least ones that I would ever plan on selling
Oh my
on
god,
there.
he's just gonna put a bunch of like flooded out 0.01 ETH
Yeah,
NFTs on his wall
exactly.
now.
Obscure art, deep
Yeah.
cuts.
Oh my god, some Cardano NFTs. That's hilarious. All right, I'm gonna ask you a question that I have not asked any other YouTuber because it honestly didn't come up in my mind till just now.
Uh-oh.
And the only reason it comes up is because I was thinking about your YouTube videos, and there's another YouTuber out there who was like neck and neck with you. It was like everyone they didn't want to compare, but they compared NFT Verse and
Mhm.
Giancarlo. They were going neck and neck. You both were crossing like 100K around the same time. He disappears overnight, and nobody hears a word. Everyone has DM'd him. Everyone I know has tried to talk to him, has
Me
reached
too.
out. Nobody knows where he went. Do you have like anything? Anything?
No, I DM'd him as well. The worst part is that his last tweet was like,
I know.
"COVID sucks" or something.
I know. I'm scared he's dead.
I mean, it's I hope not, but yeah, it is very weird. He was on the come up. Um, he had a good. I loved his content. Like he had the daily wrap ups, which is like an essential thing to have in this space because there's so
It
much
was.
happening.
Yeah.
It's very weird.
Yeah, I
But
remember it was freaky. I remember everyone was like had all these conspiracies about where he may have gone, and someone was like, he was VC backed, and they just like stopped funding him, so he just stopped making
what?
videos. And I
No,
was
he
like,
wasn't
what?
VC backed. That's
Like,
tinfoil. Maybe he's watching right now.
he could, dude. He could be. He's sitting there. He's like trying. He's like holding his fingers back. He's like, I want to say hi, but I can't.
Maybe he's
Angela's out
planning
there,
some kind of like 5 year later return drop, mega drop, and
bro.
it's all part of the plan.
He could. Holy
He
shit,
could.
he could. Guys, let us know. Also, if anyone actually does know the answer to that, because I don't know anyone who does, please let me know because we'd all want him back. I don't know what happened to him. Anyways, we'll move on from that. But okay, so because there hasn't been too many interviews on you as a human being, as a person, like what you did before and stuff. I know I had heard in like a past video or something you had a background in like finance or trading or something in that realm. Can you talk about
Mhm.
that a little bit? And then you think if that helped you in NFTs and trading at all?
Sure. Yeah. So my first job out of college was at a sell side research firm called Breen Capital. Well, they did more than sell side research, but I was on the sell side research team. And what sell side research is we basically doing research on public companies, and you're helping buy side investors, hedge funds, just like understand these companies better, have a different point of view on them, sometimes meet the team and whatever. And what I was covering were the gaming companies, so like EA, Activision, Take Two. And it was around the time that the model in gaming was shifting. So it was going from like pure physical, where you're just buying, like a $60 Call of Duty game, and that's the end of the relationship, to this like digital, World of Warcraft subscriptions, Fortnite V-Bucks, season passes, all these things. And so the hedge fund managers were trying to understand that, right? And so that was a very cool experience in learning about what people valued in digital assets and why this was like driving, the gaming industry was like blowing up. Like people were spending way more than they were in the past. And so I did that for a while. And then I went to another startup called Super Data Research that also did digital gaming's like data and research. And so again, I was helping investors understand again like all these changing models and why people were buying skins and cosmetics and all these things. And so definitely all of that, like I basically spent like 7 years just purely focused on gaming digital assets and why people were spending on them, and trying to like predict, okay, FIFA Ultimate Team this year, they made these changes. This might have, a 20% boost for them, whatever. And so by the time that NFTs came around, that I felt like it just clicked for me pretty quickly. I was like, oh, of course, if we all believe in this one spreadsheet, which is like the main thing, like you need people to sort of be on board with it. But if we do, then human beings are going to spend infinite amounts of money on just cosmetics or anything really in this digital world that they're now spending a majority of their time in.
Yeah.
You know,
Dude, well, certain people like Gary Vee too. I mean, they have no choice, but like they end up coining terms or ideologies that people subscribe to and then take and run with. But I remember when Gary Vee had talked about Instagram verification, and he was like, "How much would you pay for that?" And he goes, "How much do you think your friend paid for that?" And I was like,
Mhm.
"Fuck." That is so true. Like people pay three, four, five, $10,000 sometimes for Instagram verification, depending, like on who kind of thing. And when he made that kind of link, when people were talking about, the classic game digital assets. By the way, you were in that world. Are you thinking about going into the gaming sphere at all in Web3?
As like a day job.
Um, I don't know, or maybe shifting content in that direction. I know Elliot Trades is getting bigger on Twitter. He's trying to be more active. Gabriel Layden's all over Spaces. So the
Yeah, I
gaming
mean,
world is looking to
I
play.
would love to cover that more. When I started the channel, I thought I would be speaking about it more, and a couple of my earlier videos were on gaming like tokens. It just hasn't materialized really. Like it is in an industry.
Yeah.
There's been Axie Infinity, a couple other games that maybe made noise for like a week or a month, but it really hasn't been in the industry. Now, will that change? Yes, I think it definitely will. I don't know exactly the timeline. Could start this year. Could be, yeah, like you said, Digidaigaku could be the first one. I know like Square Enix is going hard into the space. And so when that happens, I can see myself definitely talking about it a lot more because I think it will be at some point the majority of the space will be gaming or gaming
Yeah.
related.
Yeah. I think it does literally just need time. It needs people to, I don't know, want to own the asset outside the wallet. And I think it just needs more conversation around it. So it might be something when you start making content about it, people start clicking. They're like, oh, that's what it fucking means. Like, I guess that does make
Mhm.
sense.
Well, the
Uh,
games have to be fun. It's not you can get cute with like all these different tokenomics and but the game has to actually be enjoyable where people want to spend time in it regardless of the profit potential, and then you have some kind of integration. But we're
Well,
not there
people
yet.
have had, I've heard some pretty good stuff from Dookie Dash. I don't know if you've played, but a lot of people say it's fun. A lot of normies have commented on these Web3 gaming videos and stuff and said this game looks fun. It seems to check all the boxes. The floor is sitting stable for the sewer pass at least too. What are your thoughts on that whole conundrum?
Well, it's a fun mini game. I mean, it's not the kind of game that you're going to play for months and years. But I think for an event or for a tournament, it's like this perfect type of game where it is kind of skill based. It is somewhat fun to watch. You're not gonna watch for hours, but with the right personality, you might turn it on. And you have like this huge prize to it, and so it does check off all the boxes on something that you might see take over Twitch one day. Now, why didn't it do it this time? Well, because nobody is touching NFT stuff. Post FTX, post Logan Paul,
Yeah.
it's just not worth it. Um, and so, yeah, it went mini viral within our own little space here. But I think in the future, like if they were to do this 2-3 years from now, I think it would be way bigger, and there will be examples of that.
Yeah. And we're seeing it's cool for me to see some of these activations happening right now because, maybe it is too early for something like the Digidaigaku Super Bowl, this big Freeman thing, which is happening. Also, did you sign up for that?
I hold a Genesis. I don't know if I had to sign up for it. I think I might get one from that.
I would hope
I,
so.
I
I would hope so. But what do
yeah.
you think about that? I mean, the Super Bowl, it's gonna be a ton of people there, but and I saw their little sneak peek trailer. I know for us, like we kind of get it. I hope that the trailer makes sense for normal people who are literally gonna be drinking beer with their friends, not really, you know, clued in on like trying to capitalize on a mint. They're just gonna be chilling. How do you think that's gonna go? And what do you think they're trying to accomplish there?
So I'm actually doing a write up on this, and I'm putting out soon. But I think the base case like expectations that I would have is that it's successful, and a lot of people, for sure, like some percentage of the people are just gonna laugh at it and brush it off and whatever. But when you look at the Coinbase commercial that they did, I think it was maybe last Super Bowl or two Super Bowls ago, they got like 20 million people uh, on their website within a minute of having this like QR code bouncing around the screen. So 20 that's a huge number. In, compared to everything else in the NFT space, that's astronomical. And so I don't know exactly how many people they will get, but they'll certainly get more than the 10,000 NFTs that are in the collection.
Hmm.
And so you're going to have much greater potentially, 100x or 1,000x greater demand than the supply. And then everyone on Twitter also that didn't even participate is going to be talking about it. And so for I think a brief moment, Digidaigaku will be like the most talked about NFT in the space. And what does that do to the collection? I don't know. There isn't like a comparable scenario or situation that we can point to and be like, oh, okay, well, there have been some commercials for
Hmm.
that other NFTs have been a part of, but those have been like 1 second cameos.
Yeah.
Whereas this is completely different.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Do you like being well, I assume you do, but, like, do you like being in this wild, wild west in startup land in, like, the way I describe Web3 when people ask me sometimes, I'm like, "Well, it feels like a dreamland for entrepreneurs and tech people," is, like, kinda how I describe the Web3 space. There's so many people who trying to build for the tech, and are fucking nerds for this stuff, and, we like tech, we believe in the tech and whatever. Do you like being in this wild, wild west? Do you like having like, I don't know if you work, like, a stable thing in the day or what your process is for, like, making money in the space and things like that, but do you enjoy being in this time of the market?
I mean, I love it. I love it because deep down, I have strong conviction that this is gonna be really big, whether that's in 5 years or in 10 years. And if you believe that, then right now you're seeing sort of the beginnings of this industry, which is always a cool kind of punk era. If you look at the internet or any other shift in the past. And I think a lot of the people that will be huge names 5, 10 years from now, like the Walt Disneys of Web3 or whatever, are just hanging out on Twitter and Spaces and in Discord. And we'll look back, like when you look at those photos of like Steve Jobs and a bunch
Yeah,
of people in, whatever the homebrew club and all that, and they all went out on to do like crazy things. I think that's how we'll look at some of these Discord servers and spaces. And so I love that aspect of it. Um, Now, being on the Wild West also means that there's a ton of grifters, which has been a huge problem that we face, and I think everyone has seen or come across at least one scam at this point. And so that part sucks because it's always embarrassing when that happens, because you're trying to present the space as like this mature or not mature, but like somewhat honest
yeah,
thing, right? Like I do think like the underlying thesis is it's a good piece of technology. Like it's going to do good for humanity. But then you have all these like headlines, which of course the media like gravitates towards, and
oh,
that
they
all
do.
sucks. But
Yeah, they
that
do
just
love
comes with
it.
the territory, I think.
Do you remember have you had anything very, very, close to you be ripped out of your wallet from one of those hacks?
No,
Nothing
I haven't
nothing
been
too
I haven't been rugged or scammed yet. Knock on wood.
damn, dude, this
Uh,
man survived the whole time. I survived a long, long, long time, and then I just was chilling on my phone, had a computer open, had, like, 3 things going on, and I just saw a Discord link, and I was like, "Oh, I forgot about that," and I just the thought that this might not be real didn't even occur to me. I was just in the middle of 4
eh,
things, and, goodbye, World of Women community. We loved you. We'll get back into some
oh
point, but
shit.
lost that within 10 seconds, dude. I literally was like, I went, signed my wallet, and I was like, wait a second. And it like popped back up and it goes sign again. And I was like, oh fuck. And I literally like disconnected, revoked my wallet, and I was like, oh my God. And I was like, okay, it's probably fine. I probably survived it. It was only a couple seconds. I run on my OpenSea, checked my activity, transferred out. And I was just
Oh
like,
my god.
but at that point it was too late. So I took the L.
No,
Didn't There's no
no,
point in flagging at that
no
point.
hardware wallet.
It wasn't in a hard I don't know why it wasn't. It was just there's a bunch of random NFTs in that wallet, and it was the most
Fade.
expensive one in there, and it was yeah, big L. Big L.
Unforgivable.
Unforgivable. Dude, where do you spend your day right now? You got a day in the life routine right now, or is it all over the place?
Um, so it's about to change a lot. So I'm basically releasing a publication of sorts where I tweeted about it yesterday, where I'm going to be talking about upcoming NFTs, and I'm going to be doing that often, because I do think that's like one of the hardest things in the space right now is finding upcoming NFTs.
Agreed.
And so I imagine my time spent on that is going to increase a lot. Right, prior to that, I've been doing one video a week, 2 videos a week, and so it's not a ton, but they do have like some primary research to them.
Mhm.
And so two videos a week is for me. Each video might be like, I don't know, 15 hours, 20 hours, something like that. And so of research and setting everything up, uploading and all that. Uh, in the past few weeks, there haven't been a ton of news. Really the past like 3 6 months, there haven't been a ton of news. And so some weeks you don't have more than one video. So really, it's just been that's why I do like these side projects where I had Prometheans for a while, and that took up some time for a couple months. There will be more stuff that I do with Zero.Fun, and so I do have like these sort of side quests that I poke around at, and so every day it's just a couple of hours dedicated to each one of these. But as one takes off, you kind of have to slow down the other side quests and just dedicate to one thing. I really believe that you can't split your attention across 4 different things. And so whenever I do find something that I'm like, okay, this is the thing I want to scale. Um, at that point, you need to find a team that is going to do a lot of the admin and operational work behind the scenes. Because as a content creator, your job should always be just making more content as much as possible. And so I am trying to get to the point where I find something that I think I can scale, and then I recede into just like this content creator role where I'm just making cool shit and hopefully getting followers, and that's gonna help like any product that you make.
Yeah, 1000%, dude. Like for me, I want to make some more content that would like the way I've always thought about my content. I was able to go full time on YouTube at 900 subscribers by kind of leveraging my YouTube, doing reviews and stuff, and it was really cool because I was able to do honest reviews. There's no bias. They paid me up front, so there's no weird thing going, and I was really enjoyed that, and I was able to do it because I structured my videos so that the people watching weren't degens. Like I was making the videos for the project founders and
Yeah.
like CEOs of the companies. And these are the people that would reach out to me to do reviews and to talk and maybe do consulting or something. And so like I structured my videos because I knew they're going to get less views, but I also knew I couldn't compete with these other guys who are getting, 10, 20, 30, 40,000 views because they were talking about new projects. And I was like, well, I don't want to make those videos. Everyone's already doing that. I want to make other stuff. And so I kind of geared my content to go toward a target audience. And I've always done the same thing there. But this time with the 2023, I want to make a lot of content that would sort of set me up in a position where people who are working in like metaverse tech or cool
Mhm.
innovations, or maybe they have a VR product or whatever it is, like I want them to hit me up because they've seen my videos and be like, yo, we need someone to test out this stuff, make a video. We want to get Cade. We want to get Bryson. We want to get whoever. Like that's what I'm trying to do with my content. For yourself, who are you mainly trying to target? Is it the new people who are coming in who don't know anything, or are you really talking to like the crypto Twitter people, or who do you imagine you're talking to?
Like when I do videos.
Mhm.
Right now, if we're honest, it's just the people that are kind of hardcore already in the space. Anyone who's still here, I consider hardcore. At this point, like all the casuals, kind of like there you
Let's
go,
fucking go, baby.
yeah. And so would I like to make videos that appeal to just a wide audience of beginners or people who are just dipping their toes in NFTs? Yes, because that would scale a lot more. But I don't think that's real. There really isn't any demand outside of this existing group.
Yeah,
There's no interest coming into the space, and so I really do think like you can make the most viral video tied to NFTs, or in your mind the most viral, like well-made video, great topic, great editing, everything. And I just think there's a hard cap on how big that can get. It's not going to get a million views no matter what. You can be Scorsese and it's not going to get a million views. And so you back in 2021, it could potentially do that. And so you would optimize the videos in a way where you're like, okay, I want the broadest attention on this. But now it's just don't worry too much about trying to get that viral. If you do want to make something viral, go make Chat GPT videos. But if you want to do like just NFT stuff, then just focus on the existing group, which is they're going to be artists, they're going to be builders, a lot of founders watch these videos, and then also just the degen crowd as well. Just and it's kind of like entertainment. It's not like big brain CNBC stuff. I try not to go into that tone too much. So it's just people that want to see a YouTube video about the space that they are in every day.
true.
Just kind of cool to have someone on YouTube or multiple people. There's many channels that represent their interests.
Yeah, did you ever watch my parody?
Which of me,
Parody of me, did you ever watch it? I know you did.
uh,
I know you.
I
I did.
watched like 5 seconds, but I'm like, I can't do it. I can't do it.
Oh
It's
man,
just too for me. It's so weird to watch anything like referencing me like that.
I always wonder what that would look like if someone made one of me. Just like pulling out things like I constantly say or say over and over again.
Yeah,
Those things are funny. For me, I make them because when I make them, I think they're endearing because I'm like, oh, like it's a tribute to this person because I've seen so many of their videos. I like, anyways. But yeah, that was not meant in like in a weird way. But I had fun making that video, and I've done them before for other YouTubers. It's always fun because I've always consumed not I haven't consumed every NFT YouTuber's content, and a lot of it at that either. But there are some YouTubers that I watch, and if I see their video pop up, it'll be there. Do you have any content creators who you fuck with a lot that every time you tune in, or are you kind of sort of out of that? And is it on YouTube? Is it on Twitter? If you do,
I don't watch for NFT specifically. I
I
don't
guess actually no, just in general. But yeah, maybe NFTs first.
I don't really watch too many NFT videos just because I'm when I'm on Twitter, that's like 99% of what I'm following.
Mhm.
And then on Discord. And so when I'm on YouTube, I just, I watch YouTube a lot. It's probably the platform that I consume the most video content from out of any, Netflix, whatever. Um, and so when I'm on here, I'm watching like podcasts or a lot of these like Twitch streamers because I used to watch a lot of Twitch when I was doing the gaming stuff. And so Ludwig and all those guys that kind of came over from Twitch to YouTube. And so no, I don't really watch too many NFT channels at this point, to be honest.
Damn.
I mean, I used to back in the day. I used to watch I watched Parallax. I watched Angel, Brett. I'm blanking on a bunch of names, but
Yo, well, I see there's definitely some NFT YouTubers in the chat right now. I see Philip in the squad. I saw Tom a second ago. I don't know if he's still in here. Bunch of people in Spaces. So shout out to all y'all in Spaces. Also, if you guys are enjoying the conversation, hit that bottom right icon if you're in Spaces, the little purple message thing. Retweets, likes, shares, they all help the space to get more and more people in here. And if you're on YouTube, smash the likes. We appreciate y'all 100%. And you brought up AI a second ago, and I had a conversation with Brett the other day, and we talked all about AI, and it kind of blew my mind because I brought up the fact that like a lot of the NFT YouTubers have shifted their content to more AI stuff. Some of them maybe because it was really interesting, some of them no doubt to capitalize on the views and the attention, which I'm sure they did. What are your thoughts on AI and Web3, how they blend together? Are you planning to use them in any of your stuff coming up?
I've used it already. Just like with coming up with ideas for some of these projects that I work on, and even names and things like that. Like ChatGPT, I'm referring to, and yeah, I've already been using it. And I see the potential there. I'm not like super well versed on the tech and how fast things are gonna evolve and scale, and so I like to stay to like my lane, because I just like to make sure that I can defend most of the points that I'm saying. And so if I talk about a completely new topic, I'm not going to do it like after a week of research. Like I'd have to go like kind of deep for several months. And so yeah, just on the pure AI side, I don't really know how fast that will scale. Now on the NFTs and AI like merge, I do think there's a lot of potential there. There were people working on that for years now, like the ASM Brain, Fluff World people who their idea is that they're going to be NPC AIs, and a lot of these gaming worlds in Decentraland, that most of the characters in there are going to be just NPCs that are owned by other people. And I think I resonate with that. I think that will come. That's gonna be very cool. And then on the other side, you have like the gaming AI people who are creating like ways for you to train AIs that then compete in the game itself, as opposed to player versus player being in the game. I think that's gonna be huge as well. And again, so it just comes down to like what's fun. But the potential is huge. I mean, why not? Like ownable AI sounds like a no-brainer to me at some point.
I mean, it's gonna be funky, dude. It's gonna be a wild world. I'm really excited about it. These kind of innovations, I'm kind of with you there. I need to know more before I make a full video on it. And honestly, the video I did with Brett will be my first video. I'll kind of do like an intro. We'll have a bunch of stuff from the conversation, and then I'll kind of talk about what I learned. But you're right. Yeah, I don't want to make a video if I don't understand it fully. But we'll say that the world of AI has opened my mind and my eyes up to just the possibilities. And I remember after a deep dive into AI, I saw some picture, and like all the comments were basically like, "Oh, these are cyberpunk vibes. These are Ready Player One vibes." And we were talking in the conversation. He was like, "Yeah, dude, if Midjourney can create these images and we can get AI to like make it into a world," and he's like, "There's people working on this and they're getting paid tons of money to do this, and some of the richest people are very, very motivated to be the first to do it, because we just saw if you can have that, if you can be the person who releases ChatGPT, for example." You've just effectively changed the course of history. Like there's a chance that we look back in 500 years and we go, that day, like 3 weeks ago, whenever it was that OpenAI blew the fuck up and got however many million people in a week. Absolutely insane. And I see Uncle Madden here saying, "No sweater, no fleece." Come on, what am I paying for? Like, sorry, fam. But yeah, anyways, with the AI stuff, it makes me really excited for the metaverse.
I just don't see the call to action isn't as clear to me. Like, yeah, you can use AI for a bunch of different applications, but I think there's a bigger, easier path in convincing like artists about what they can do with NFTs practically today. Like the infrastructure is there. So I don't know. I just see like the short term practical applications for how it can change like your life. There's just more use cases that I see for NFTs. Now that's not to say that AI won't be huge. I just wouldn't know like if I were to I could make 1 or 2 videos on it, but I don't know where I would take that necessarily as a brand.
Yeah. Well, we also saw like when this whole thing came up, it sparked conversation that blew up in the Web3 world in general over space and stuff. And we're seeing like two angles to a lot of the arguments. And one thing that came up in the latter half of 2022 because of our boy Andrew Tate was like the red pill movement. Everyone was like, men need
Mhm.
to be men. They need to, I don't even know, like get up and stop complaining kind of thing. Um, what are your thoughts on the quote?
Mm.
Strong people create power, or what is it? Strong people create peaceful times, and peaceful times create weak people. Something along those lines. Like, what are your thoughts on that? And like, we're stuck. Like we're stuck in that world. I feel like the second we can have some time to chill, we do, and then like again, it's like a fucking just arguing again all over again. But what are your thoughts on that? And like, can we fix that?
I mean, it's one of those like historical frameworks that it sounds nice, but I just don't know like how accurate it is. It does make sense, just like high level, that if you have like this decadent society, that it's gonna like create people who are relatively soft, and that's gonna like ruin the values of what they were built on in the first place. What stage are we in right now? I guess you could say this is like late stage capitalism, and everyone is sort of in that decadent world. I don't know if it's gonna matter. Like I think AI and some of these technologies are gonna change society so much within the next like couple decades
Mhm.
that it's just not comparable to any of these like historical frames, to be honest. Like I really do think like 30 years from now, the society could look completely different than it is now, for
Yeah.
better or for worse. And so I don't know. What is the practical takeaway from that? Like when you hear that quote, what does it say to you? Like what are you gonna
Well,
like get up and
be
do more
honest,
10 more push-ups every morning now?
but to be honest, the only thing I think about is Game of Thrones, and because I've been watching Game of Thrones for the first time, and like it's all like swirling in my head all the time, and I'm like, damn, bro, like peaceful times do low key be creating weak people. Like I don't know if there's a way
Yeah.
around it, other than like make yourself do it. Like Joe Rogan just flashed in my head. He's like, make yourself go through your workout and like suffer yourself, kind of thing.
I mean, we're
I don't
definitely soft. We're definitely soft right now. Don't get me wrong, but like, what can you do? I mean, do we create another YouTube channel where we just say like, stop being soft and get up and go like earn your Lambo? Does YouTube need more of that?
No, definitely not. No,
Definitely not,
there
right?
does need to be something else. I don't know what the answer is. I was hoping you'd have the answer and you could solve it all for us and end world hunger and do all the things for us on this Twitter space. But it's fine. It's totally fine. It's totally fine. We won't fix it today.
Mhm.
Another day. Also, I was curious on this. So with NFTs, a lot of it is inevitably tied to, because of 2021, the money, the buy Lambo, when Lambo, that kind of thing. And you talked about potentially the thesis moving forward might be these bigger plays, these bigger collections, not so much about the money. Does the capitalistic side? Oh, hold on, one sec. Let me just reconnect my Bluetooth. When you get a phone call, by the way, this is alpha for
Mhm.
anyone who does Spaces. Set your stuff, if you're on Spaces, on do not disturb, because it will disconnect your connection on Spaces temporarily for like 10 seconds. Twitter Space people, if you can hear me, give me thumbs up, people. Give me thumbs up, please, once my audio is back. Should be back in a couple seconds. I'm just gonna keep talking because I'll definitely see you in a sec. There we go. We're back. We're back. We're back.
You gotta
Um,
fire your production team, Cade.
God damn, dude. Yeah. What are y'all doing? What are you doing? Timmy, bro, just sell the crypto. Just sell the crypto. I know you missed it. Just sell the crypto.
Dang.
Okay. I want to change gears a little bit,
So,
just because oh, sorry, what were we about to say?
well, you want to follow up with that question that you were asking,
Actually,
or
yes. Yes, I do.
okay? So, did you cut off while you were asking it?
No, I kind of got it out with the capitalism, where we're headed, where your thoughts are on it. Is it going to stay? Is it all of NFTs?
Yeah. Well, I think of NFTs as pretty much comparable to just ownership in real life. And so everything that you can think of that you own, and the different reasons why you own it, will exist in the digital world. And so, like, yes, there will be like these speculative gambling things, and that will be like its own niche, but also everything else. Also, like things tied to your identity, uh, you know, fashion items in the digital world, flex items, game items, entertainment things. And so most of these objects that you have in the real world are not things you speculate on. They're not things you really think about the future price of. You're not trading on it. It's just something that you paid X amount of dollars for some value that you expect to get from it, and you're just consuming that value. And we haven't gotten to that point at all in NFTs yet. Like, there's very little consuming being done, right? It's just kind
Mhm.
of everyone's just buying it for usually for the price action.
Yeah.
But eventually, I think that will be the majority. It's just you're buying things that are either large supply, open edition, soul bound, whatever. They're just not going to emphasize the speculative nature of it.
Mhm.
And there's going to be a lot of creators that make a ton of money doing that, right? Like, you can, if you sell something that people want for $10, and you sell it to a billion people, like that. And so I don't think that the opportunities will go down when that becomes the meta. It just will be a different kind of opportunity. Like, it just won't be for traders and speculators, which of course is everyone you have right now. And so whenever you talk about these things, they don't really get the engagement that you would otherwise get, because no one wants to hear it. Like, they're just like, okay, but what's the next thing that's going to pump? You're like, yeah, okay, fine. And so I think every creator over time is going to have to figure out what who they want to appeal to. Like right now, you're not going to make too much of that content because those people just aren't in the space yet, but they will be eventually. And that's where it might get more towards that like hypebeast thing where you're like, oh, here's the latest digital thing that you're going to want because it's cool, not because you're going to make money on it. And so the content changes and the tone changes, or you're like, nah, I'm going to stick with the degen, because I do think the degen scene isn't going to go away, and it will get much bigger than it is now. Again, it's not even like a million people. But is that like the vibe you want? You just kind of have to figure out. I don't think it's a decision you got to make tonight, but over time you got to think about it.
Yeah, that's a super insightful insight. I was wondering what your thoughts were on that. Because yeah, we literally are making this shit up as we go, and things are happening as we go, and metas change. Literally everything is happening as we go, which is so fun for me to kind of be part of. Shifting focus a little bit. Also, if anyone in the spaces has any questions, leave them in the chat, and hopefully I'll see them. We can either get to them, or at the end we'll be able to get you to ask it on stage. But shifting back into like a little bit of life before your professional life, I guess. I don't know if you did college. I don't know if you were a straight up degen, doing keg stands, going crazy in the at those ages. But what were you like back then? Were you a hard worker? Were you like a hustle culture? Were you subscribed to that, or what were you like?
Academically, I definitely wasn't an overachiever. I went to Rutgers University, which is like the state college in New Jersey. I was a philosophy major, and so
Okay, nice.
yeah, that's always strange, right? I thought I was going to be originally a lawyer, or maybe even a journalist. And so I worked for the college paper, and I was going to take the LSATs. Like, I was going to do the lawyer thing. And at the time, I was just reading how both those industries were like getting disrupted. And so eventually I was like, I'll just get into finance, which is like still looking pretty good. But yeah, no, I wasn't a fraternity, so I did some of that. I wasn't doing keg stands, but I did some of that.
No, you were doing keg stands. There's no way.
Nah, I'm just trying to see who's in the chat right now.
You're
No,
right.
absolutely not. But yeah, no, nothing too crazy there. And then I was a gamer. And that was always sort of like this common thread throughout my life, and why I was able to do that in finance, and to this day, I still play games. I watch streams a lot, and so I'm kind of nerdy in that sense. And I'm just like this like terminally online person as well. I like always in forums since the early days of all kinds. Gaming forums, conspiracy forums, what have you. Just like different phases in my life, different hip hop forums. And so I think that also lends well to like this space. Like, if you're not online a lot, you're not going to get the meme culture as much. You're not going to get the inside jokes and why things sort of blow up and how that happens. And so I do think like that helps people kind of click pretty early on. And you can always tell if somebody is sort of like an online person by whether or not they can understand sarcasm in text on Twitter.
Agreed.
You know what I mean? Like, that's always the biggest tell. Like, you do something that's like, to me, very obviously sarcastic, and there's always like people who take it seriously, and you're like, okay, you're not really used to like reading kind of jokey, casual text in forums. Like, you haven't been doing it for a long time. Like, I know that's always
or are they OG level where they're fucking with the first person who left the tweet, and they know that that.
Oh,
so
the ultimate trolls.
Some deception going on.
I'm sure there's people like that.
That's funny. No, I agree. I agree with you in the sense that if you're not like an online person, you won't get it. And also, it's like, yeah, you're right. It's fairly obvious. And if you don't live your life online, then you probably won't be interested in Web3, because you're kind of betting on the fact that more people will be more online. It'll just maybe be more immersive, more fun, more opportunities. And then the people here, I don't know. I'm excited to see what kind of opportunities pop up for the people that, like, I'm hoping opportunities pop up for people who are, like, if you're not a content creator, for example, or if you're not like actively coding on a project or something, and you're not actually like working on anything, I'm trying to think of if there's any ways. Like, I know Elon Musk right now is out there on Twitter, doing his thing, trying to do things and whatever. And he's trying to make it so that if you post on Twitter, you can be like paid for it and stuff like that. And not to go all the way back in the capitalism argument, but it does seem that everything is being pushed in a capitalize on this type of situation. Like YouTube Shorts is like, okay, now YouTube Shorts are monetized because TikTok was taking over, and then Instagram's going to come out with something new, and then every app is trying to do something new, and it feels like that culture of like, it's almost like human anxiety of like, we need this, we need this, we need this, is going to kind of like, I don't know, maybe it continues going, but it just feels like human culture in a sense is like moving toward a world. And I'm just curious what your thoughts are on this. We're moving toward a world where everyone wants ownership of their own stuff. Like, we're seeing people not go on TV to make an announcement. They'd rather make it on their YouTube channel, or because they have all control. They have the control of the narrative, they control of everything, how it goes, how it's edited and everything. And then it feels like in my head, no doubt that at some point, the next step is like, okay, I don't want YouTube to tell me if this video is going to go viral or if you're going to push out to my audience because you don't like my thumbnail. I want to have control over that. So then that's where we start to head into a more decentralized model or something. Do you think decentralized social media, do you think is that possible? Is that on the precipice, or is it going to be YouTube? Is it going to be Facebook? Is it going to be these big companies?
Well, first, what you're talking about is like, we're heading into this era of like max engagement, right? Like max interaction, engagement, and content and all that, where everyone's just fighting for attention because attention is like the main currency of the internet. And so I think that will be one of the driving factors for why people start asking about ownership, because as it stands right now, you have all this attention that every year just gets larger and larger, the pie. And it's pretty much only benefiting, like there are these benefits for the creators themselves, but most of the value is going towards Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all these platforms. And I think this is like the last era or decade where we're like chill with that. Like, where we're like, okay, yeah, you can take all that. We're renting sort of our little platform in your kingdom. And so I think decentralized social is a great idea in principle. I don't know technically if it's like fully workable. Like, I think, if you look at some of the DMs that Elon Musk had with like Sam Bankman-Fried and some of these people that were pitching Twitter as a crypto platform, I think Jack as well. He was like, well, the latency is too slow. Like, it can't fully be on chain. And I don't know. Like, I'm obviously not an expert on that. But I think, there are probably, and he's probably talking about like every tweet being on chain, which is like maybe not necessary. But should accounts be on chain in some way, or should there be different nodes and servers that you can switch between? And I think that makes sense. I think we'll eventually head to a place where you can't just delete someone from the platform forever. And for that to happen, you do need a decentralized model. Otherwise, you're still always, trusting Elon or whoever's in charge that they're not gonna be able to permanently delete you. So I do think that that'll be one of like the drivers for where people start understanding like what ownership means on the internet. It might not be like JPEGs. It might be like, oh, my account, my livelihood can't be deleted. I like that. Oh, fine. I need to have keys to like control that myself. And if I lose the keys, maybe I'm in trouble. Well, okay, that sort of makes sense that you need that responsibility in order to get that freedom.
Yeah, 100%. That's I'm glad to kind of hear that insight on you. And also I have some rapid fire Q&A questions sort of. Okay, cool. I have some rapid fire Q&A questions that I came up with the list of, and they're like the most fun because it's really interesting hearing what other people have thoughts are on these things. And I love asking this question to YouTubers as well, because I feel like everyone has had this moment, but maybe they haven't. I'm gonna be honest, for myself, I can't really think of one that comes to mind, so maybe you won't have one either. But have you ever felt misjudged for something that you said online, or you made a video on, or you tweeted, and then everyone just got the wrong idea, and you were like, fuck?
Yes. I think there, like in my early days of the channel, I would do videos on coins that I was bearish on. And I would be like, yo, this doesn't make sense. Like, the fundamentals of this doesn't make sense. And I think, at the time it was like I was misreading the market where everything was going to do well, not on fundamentals at all. I don't know if this is really misjudging me, but a lot of people just kind of just thought I had no idea what I was talking about. Maybe they were right. But I was like, no, but it doesn't really make, like, the value isn't flowing to the coin, guys. It's just kind of like an abstraction from the company itself. And so I after a while I was like, all right, I'm not doing videos like that anymore, unless I have like a pure solid read on this company. Like fuck that. I'm not going out on a whim on a bull market where everything was just like pumping. But yeah, apart from that, every line you have that's either pro or against an NFT is going to be teased apart and attacked from some angle, because there's just too much bias And that's what I'm saying. It's like I can't think of any other sector that is similar to this one, where there's so many people that are in not just emotionally invested in what you say, but actually financially invested. And so like they see every sentence as either an attack or a line of support to what they're invested in. And so after a while, you just sort of tune it out. You're just like, okay, take in the constructive criticism, but also acknowledge that a large number of people have like these ulterior motives for why they want you to say something differently than how you're saying it.
Yeah.
And then just not, don't let that get to you. I don't know
100%.
how long these answers are supposed to be for rapid fire, by the way. It's supposed to be like a sentence.
So some of these questions are silly. Like they're like, "What's your favorite fast food restaurant?" And some are like not really like slow. Like this question, like
Yeah, that
universal.
was like a deep question.
That was a little bit deep. I'm not gonna lie, that was a little bit deep. And now I'm actually even more curious, just because you told me you're a philosophy major, which means you are interested kind of in pondering the world, if you will. What are your thoughts on like universal basic income, and if that's a future, and if what would kind of happen as a result of that, and do you think it's more possible because of AI and the metaverse?
Dude, I have no idea. I have no idea. I mean, that is like such a complex thing. Uh, first thought is that human nature would kind of get wouldn't really jive with that.
Mm,
That you'd have like a kind of a spike in like depression, where people are not feeling fulfilled because they're not contributing in a way that they think that they are. But I also recognize that the current system is like totally fucked, and you have all these people that are left out, and not really because of the decisions that they made.
mhm,
But that is like I don't think anyone has the answer to that one. I think you're just gonna have to try it in practice. Like you can write all this theory on how it's gonna play out, but
mhm.
and I think it is maybe in some degrees tried out or tested in different parts of the world. So I don't know the data on how that's been, but that'd be the first thing I'd look for.
Yeah.
And then you just kind of have to see how it goes with the first little experiments you do.
Yeah, Universal, that one was first introduced to me, where I actually pondered it when Andrew Yang went for president a few years ago, and the Asian guy, and I remember being like, "Wow, universal basic income! Like, what would that do if I had $1,000 extra coming in a month?" And that was just a curious topic for me, as
Hmm.
to like what that would do. Like, I have no idea what that would do. Universal basic income for me, I feel like would be dope. It just depends how much they give you. If they give you too much, yeah, I think we do get depressed. Some people, I think it would really help them out, just because they wouldn't have like that extra thousand can really change some people's lives, or at least get them to be able to pursue artistic interests and endeavors. And that'll be the place where, like, if you have a hobby, you're taking W's because now you have time for that hobby. But if you don't, and you're just, you watch TV or something, you don't have any hobbies, then yeah, I think you too much downtime, and you start to think a little bit too much about every single thing you've ever done that's bad. I love seeing that TikTok. You're like, why are you still up? It's like, because I'm thinking about everything I've ever done wrong ever. You're like, oh
Right.
my God. But
It's also like who's gonna implement it? Like, do you trust the government
mm,
to like create this new like
yeah.
tokenomic system for humanity and to get
Bonk.
it right?
Oh, Bonk's doing it for us. Shout out Bonk.
Okay. Yeah.
Shout out
Airdrops.
Bonk.
Um, yeah, like I don't really trust the current government to do something that complex. Like that's one thing I learned from crypto is just like when you're creating a system where there's all these different parties that have incentives to like abuse it, it's incredibly hard to get it right.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter how smart you are, like there are people who are gonna find all these edge cases to break down your system. And that is like in crypto where like these geniuses are creating these like tokenomic structures, let alone like the current government where the average age is like 80, like everyone, half the people are corrupt. I wouldn't have any faith in that.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. All right, dude. I got a couple more rapid fire Q and A's. We're gonna ask guys. If you also, this is the time. If you want to ask Giancarlo a question, go ahead and request to speak right now. And in a second, I will let a couple people up. We're gonna do a couple. These ones are gonna be faster. I hope.
Okay.
Just because these are fun. What's your? Because now that I know you're a gamer, what's your favorite video game? Let me make some people happy today. What's your favorite video game?
I mean, the one I've played the most in my life is probably FIFA.
Oh,
Um,
okay. Let's fucking go. Let's fucking go. Let's go. That's fucking
you
awesome.
want this, Cade? You want this with
I
the smoke?
I could. I'm gonna be honest. I haven't played FIFA in a long time, but there was a time where I absolutely would have smoked you. And if you gave me 2 weeks practice, I think I could. What do you play on?
I play well. I used now I play on PC, but most of the time it was on Xbox.
Damn, okay, I was doing Xbox as well. I think if we ever are in the same room and there's an Xbox and FIFA's there, I think we go. What's your team?
Madrid.
Oh shit, Madrid versus Chelsea. Easy
There
W,
you
fam.
go.
Easy W. YouTubers against that would be a pretty funny thing. And maybe we'll set that up at like NFT NYC or something. We'll get a whole
Do you
YouTuber.
play games?
I'm honestly, I loved like Pokemon. I loved the adventure style games, and I was never great at first person shooters or any of those games with the guns. My dad just hated those games growing up, so he never let me play. And when I was really young, I played like the GI Joe, and I played very small things like that. I played Nintendo 64, but I never got deep into like the Call of Duty games. And I think I got pushed out of that crowd because I didn't feel like I was good enough. So, and like with that kind of game, if you're not good enough, you just get killed. So I was like, oh, I can't,
Mm.
like all these guys I'm trying to be cool around, they're all way better than me, and they're just gonna make fun of me. So for a long time, I mean, I was just not really confident growing up, so I just didn't play. It didn't get good. I regret
Dude,
that. I'm not gonna lie.
the funny thing is that I really only play multiplayer games. Like, every time I pick up a single player game, I'm like, this is gonna be awesome. I'm actually gonna get into the story, but I never do. And then the funny thing is that with all these multiplayer games, like I played Call of Duty, I played Fortnite. I almost never spend on cosmetics in the game, even though like now I'm
Really?
like fucking spending thousands of dollars on JPEGs just to like show off on Twitter. But in the games themselves, I would rarely spend. Like I play Call of Duty, and I literally play with like the base skin and the base gun. Like
Damn,
I'm
really?
like the most casual, even though I play a lot. Like I come in with like this casual, just like, oh, I'm not gonna upgrade shit and get the gold version of this gun. Like who cares? Isn't that
They don't
weird?
even know you have a Bored Ape Yacht Club Atom Bomb Squad collab T-shirt, bro. They don't even know.
It doesn't make sense.
Doesn't make sense. That's hilarious.
I guess like because you don't see them as like your peers. Maybe you think that's it.
Yeah, yeah, I would say so.
Like they're complete strangers.
Literally,
Like who
yeah, you
cares
just
about flexing
hop
on
in.
them?
Yeah, that's actually a good point. That's an interesting way to put it. I never thought about it like that. Yeah, I guess there wouldn't really be a point. It would be I guess the same level of point of like you walking into a coffee shop of people you don't know and caring about what they think about your T-shirt or something.
Yeah,
But it's a little bit
it's
less
probably
invasive.
like. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say it's even less invasive than that because they literally can't see you.
It's probably proportional to the number of people that you know in real life that play the game with you.
Mm. Yeah, I think that's right.
Like if you spend like every day in Roblox, and so does your entire middle school class, then I imagine having like this sick Roblox skin is probably like the best thing you can do.
Oh yeah.
But if you're playing like this game where you don't know anyone and just all strangers, Fortnite, and you're the only Fortnite player you know, then yeah, I don't really see the reason to spend a lot of money on these skins. Why
True.
someone would do that.
True. Okay. Do you do you have any guilty pleasures that people maybe wouldn't know about? Other than I don't know if gaming would like fall in that category, but do you have any guilty pleasures? Vampire Diaries.
Man, I don't. I feel like there's nothing that would be considered a guilty pleasure to like the DJing crowds and NFTs.
Mm.
I mean, playing craps at the casino, I like that.
Oh, so
Um,
okay, so you're chilling at the casino. So you're comfortable. You walk into a casino, you're
in
having
Jersey, I would go to Atlantic City quite a bit.
damn.
Now that I'm in California, I don't really go to the casinos as much. But
True. True.
um, yeah, honestly don't know.
Yeah. How do you like living in California?
It's weird, man. Like I moved right before the pandemic, and so like I got here and everything shut down like immediately.
Oh
And
fuck.
so for like 2 years, I was like, people would ask me like, what do you think of California? I'm like, I can tell you what my apartment's like, but I haven't really gone out. And so now, what do I think? Part of me wants to leave. California is definitely a state that to me is descending, not ascending. And I think you'd like to be in a place that's ascending.
Mm.
But at the same time, I think LA is becoming the Web3 hub in the world. Like the number of
Mhm.
founders, like your favorite projects, the number of those projects that have their founders in LA, I think you'd be surprised. And like to me, I think it's just going to keep happening because of the entertainment district here, right? Like there's going to be more gaming, there's going to be more artists and design, and all that really is housed in LA. And so it's tough. Like it's like if I leave, I lose out on these potential connections and just meeting
Yeah.
everyone. So I don't know.
Have
So
you met with any
I
of
think
the
about this like
founders?
every day.
Have you met with any founders out there, like in person, gotten coffee with them or anything like that?
I have, yeah, quite a few. I
Nice.
don't know like who exactly is like doxed or on doxed. That's the other weird thing about this space.
Yeah,
Like any
dude.
other space, you'd be like, oh yeah, like Tom, Jeffrey.
Yeah.
But then you go in the DMs, you're like, bro, no one knows I'm in California.
It's weird too, because they'll show up like at NFT NYC, completely anonymous, but then you meet them and they tell you who they are, and you're like, "Oh, like, are you not worried someone's gonna take a picture of you or something? Like, what the fuck?"
Yeah, they're like semi docs. Like
Yeah.
I think it was Punk 4156. I think I heard him say that. if you're not like 100% anonymous, like you've covered every single base and you studied exactly how to do it, then you're pretty much doxxed.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of time.
Yeah.
And he's like, and I think he was like debating, like, should I just go full docs because I'm like kind of, it's a facade at this point.
Mm-hmm. True. All right, here's my last two questions. Have you bought anything excessively cool for yourself or for someone else, and like how did that feel?
Excessively cool.
Yeah,
You
just
mean
something.
expensive?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like how to like word that question. Like, have you bought anything cool that was like, how do I say this? To put it in like a philosophical concept, have you traded monetary, like your money, where you're like, this is value for like something, and just been like, this is the coolest fucking thing. I'm so glad I spent money on this. Or maybe you bought money, like I don't know, someone like bought their mom like a laptop or something. And they're like, that was an incredible feeling to see like what money can buy. Almost from like a philosophical standpoint. But have you bought anything crazy in your life, maybe from NFTs or something like that?
On a personal basis, the thing I spend the most on is probably traveling, and then maybe a guilty pleasure or whatever is going to the World Cup.
Oh,
I missed the last one, but I went to the one in South Africa and I went to the one in Brazil. Now the next one's here in the US, so you can't really travel.
yeah,
But those like I'm down to like just kind of go hard. Like I don't even look at the bill. It's just like
it's fucking
there's
dumb.
once every 4 years. Like fuck it, there's only so many in our lifetime. Like just go hard. So World
100%,
Cup
dude.
would be my answer.
100%, 100%. All right,
I
very
don't really
fast.
buy too. I don't really buy too many things, physical things that are expensive, to be honest.
That's a good one to do though, because when you go to the World Cup and you just like don't have, you're like, I'm chilling. I don't come here very often. That's fucking awesome, dude. Um, what's your favorite? This will be my final rapid fire, and I have who is this on stage? I have
Just the last thought. Like if you were to rank everything I've bought in my life by how expensive they are, I can almost guarantee the top like 90% of the list would be like NFTs.
no
Just
way,
like
really.
so, it's just like so insane. Yeah, aside from like my house, I guess, but
Yeah.
how often are you spending like $10,000 on something in the real world, like a physical object?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I guess a car. Yeah, the only thing that comes to mind would be like, I'm sure someone like people just bought a car because they got a little bit of money or something like that. That's usually people's go-to.
Yeah, car,
But
house, and then after that, just like a big
true.
fall off.
Yeah,
All right, sorry. Anyways.
you're good, dude. You're good. Do you have a favorite food chain? I swear, if he says In and Out, I swear. If
Oh
he's
fuck.
there's no way, bro. There's no fucking way that you like In and Out this.
No.
All
Hold
right.
on, hold on. I did eat a lot of Five Guys when I was in Jersey. So I'll go with Five Guys. Yeah.
Yeah, Five Guys.
But In and Out is for me top five, I would say.
For real? Is it number 5 though?
I don't know where it ranks, but it's
Yeah,
up there.
that's funny. All right, I have here, Norsk Mint. Yo, you're on stage. You got a question. I don't know if I can hear you, so go ahead and talk. I may not be able to hear you last time for some reason. Crypto Gorilla could hear, but I couldn't hear. So go ahead and ask your question. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, what's up, guys? Thanks a lot for calling me up. Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear
Yeah.
actually.
Awesome. Thanks a lot. Yeah. First of all, thanks a lot for the content you guys are sharing. It's really cool to listen to you guys talk about everything, really. But yeah, I had a question for Giancarlo. I mean, I really enjoy your content, and I follow you up. Yeah, on most things. And but one thing that really stuck with me was something you tweeted a couple of days ago. It was about the concept that you cannot really have something as a curation in the NFT space. Basically, you cannot have, let's say, a website, a page, whatever, that is curating collections, because you mentioned that people would just take it either as FUD or shilling, right? So how do you go about something like that? For example, your collection, the Prometheans, right? This you kind of go against all the main stables of the of NFTs, right? And there's no scarcity, there's no, I don't want to say that, but like there's no real value in the NFT per se. But the idea is that your attempt to go through that kind of mentality, or is something else that you're trying to do, or how would you go about fighting that mentality that it's not possible for people to actually think about, let's have a page about curation, let's have something like, I'm gonna have reviews about a collection every month, and this is just my personal opinion. I'm not trying to shill, I'm not trying to buy whatever, something like that.
So for Prometheans, like in actually putting that drop together, it was definitely like, I want to practice what I'm preaching, which is like this new wave that I see coming of non-speculative projects that are exploring on-chain stuff in a cool way, and hopefully some people do find it fun. And so I think that that's important to not like completely be a hypocrite. But in terms of like your question on curation, I do think it's a huge issue. Like if you notice, there isn't really many people giving like reviews, and I think part of the reason is because these collections are so small that, and it's very tough to know if someone is a bag holder and whatever they're talking about. Um, that one, their voice can have a huge impact on those collections, and I think no one likes that. Like you want to call them an influencer. The influencer is not going to like all the heat that they get from that and the controversy. It's just much easier to not say anything. And the people that are holding that NFT are also going to just like be like, why is this guy kind of spreading FUD or talking about my my bags? And then also the people who are making them are not like huge movie like production companies where yeah, if you're critiquing some film, it's a lot easier to kind of like throw punches. But if this is just like a small artist and they're not just like scamming, but there is a lot to critique in their project, how do you go about that? Because it definitely feels like you're kind of stomping on somebody's actual attempt to make something cool. And so that I think that's just all of that is kind of a function of where we are right now. But I think over time, there'll be more opportunities, more projects that you can have an opinion on that doesn't feel weird about, or you don't have a huge influence on. And then really it's just like, have you built up your personal credibility where people will be like, okay, this person is not saying what he's saying because of bag shilling. And I think that is going to be a tough one because you can never really know, right? Like someone can always have a wallet that you're not aware of that is holding Azuki's, and then they write this like huge piece on Azuki. And so you'll never be at like 100% on that, but have they built up this relationship or this reputation of trust over time where the probability of them doing that is very low. I think that's something that it takes time. Like it takes time and patience to like build that reputation over time. And along the way, you have like all these. As soon as you start reviewing things and you start like creating an audience, you're gonna start getting temptations. Yeah. Like people are going to start coming into your DMs. They're gonna say like, "Hey, like, why don't you say some nice things about my project?" And here's like 5 ETH.
Yeah.
And that's like once you get those tests, you're like, "Oh shit! Like, do I really like? What's my North Star? Like, I can make all this money right now, and then maybe who knows? Web3 might be a scam, and then I'll just go do something later on. But I made a bag." Or I'm like, no, this space is gonna be here for a long time. So am I. I have to think about like the decade long or the multi-decade kind of story.
Yeah, and that's a very, very real thing that you just mentioned. Like when people like, I remember I did a review, and like I said, they pay me up front. It's always honest. I'm like, look, I'm just gonna do my review. This I don't really care. And so I remember I had done a review, and they were like, hey, like, do you like we for some reason there was some specific reason they're like, we need to see this before it comes out. And I was like, look, that's fine, but I'm gonna post it. Like it's just gonna go out like this. There's no changes. And I remember he watched it and he was like, hey, you know what? We're just gonna go ahead and not post the video. And he was at first chill, and then this man, I have never still in my life experienced anything like this. Real FUD, face-to-face FUD. Like guys screaming at me. He's like the whole thing, smoking 2 cigarettes, like it was like out of a movie. I was sitting there like, what the fuck is happening? Like I'm on a Zoom call with this dude who's so angry at me because I reviewed his project when he paid me to do it. And I was like, you know that like you paid me for a review, right? He goes, yeah, but like why are you telling me stuff I gotta work on and like what we're not doing right? And like, and I was like, what? And he was like, well, like you didn't talk about like you weren't saying like we're gonna go and probably do like a 10x. And I was
they
like,
want a commercial, basically.
I was like, wait, you thought I was gonna say that? He goes, well, yeah, it's like a review. I was like, bro, you have got this wrong, my friend. And like just think about how many people in the NFT space have made YouTube videos and have gotten these opportunities. You're right. Like people are literally being shilled in the DMs. And you know, yeah, not everyone has a very long-term focus. You know, for me, I love the podcast. It's my absolute favorite medium to consume, to do. And my podcasting career is outside of Web3. It's in Web3 because I'm in Web3. But the way I look at my podcasting, it's like my career. That is my absolute where I want to go in 30 years when I think about what I'm doing. The podcast is like the number one thing in there. And so for me, like I cannot like risk my credibility and my reputation in that sense. But yeah, not everyone has that mindset for content, you know?
Yeah, and I think about like, okay, can it work with like a crowdsourced review like platform, something like a Yelp? And I really don't know if that can work, to be honest, because as soon as that Yelp of Web3 becomes impactful, like it starts having influence on the prices of things, that is just going to get abused. Like, it's just going to get botted. Or, you know, people, like, how can you ever know for sure if this person is not holding or you know, is saying what the truth when they're filling out their profile?
Yeah.
I don't know how you can.
No, you can't. I mean, people are taking me at my word. They're like, I'm like, look, I'm not. But like I mean, you don't know. Yeah, like I mean, I don't know. I mean, when I see someone else's review, you're right. I have no idea if they've been paid or if they have been paid, but then they also were paid a little bit extra on the side. They just don't talk about it.
Right.
That's things you fucking don't know, and that's also that's what happens when we're in the Wild West of NFT stuff. Also, I see he has a follow up on that. What's up?
Yeah, I don't know if that's okay with you guys to ask a follow-up question.
Well, if it's quick, if you can keep it quick, for sure.
Oh yeah, just go ahead. I'm just gonna leave space to someone else. Thanks a lot, guys. Appreciate it.
We appreciate it, man. Appreciate you. Thanks for coming up.
Thank you.
Hell yeah, hell yeah. Well, honestly, I mean, look, that's my final rapid fire Q&A. I feel like we covered a fucking lot. Like, we literally went all over and across the metaverse. And dude, I thank you for your time. Do you have anyone you want to like shout out on this journey, or anything that you've got coming up that you want to highlight before we pop out of here?
Yeah, so I am dropping some news, I think tomorrow. So if you're not following me on Twitter, follow me. It is related to you know, this curation stuff and everything, a lot of what we spoke about today. And I think it'll have a lot of practical value, especially for people who are not finding it easy to find upcoming NFTs.
Me.
That's basically the focus of it.
And dude, are you excited? Like, how can you tell me again? You may have said it. Like, how long of an endeavor that was to kind of get it going to the point where you're ready to go tomorrow?
Well, it's a product that we've had internally in my Discord Midnight Labs for like almost a year now. So we've been doing this internally, this like process for finding upcoming NFTs and reviewing them, just for like our small group. And at this point, I think, you know, we're just gonna like open that up to the public essentially.
Yeah.
It'll be me just like kind of explaining our thought process, and I think it'll provide good value because one, like I said, it's hard as an enthusiast to like find NFTs, but also just people are because there's no one taking like any kind of a opinionated stand. People are just kind of falling for rugs and scams and low effort cash grabs. So like think about like the millions of dollars lost on not even like full on scams, just like low effort shit that you knew wasn't gonna work.
Yeah.
So I think it's like a big drain on the space.
Yeah. Well, listen, guys, Giancarlo is out here trying to make the NFT world a better place. So I'm down for that. And I appreciate all your content. Like, I've seen all your videos. I watch them every time I pop up. I have your noties on YouTube. So like every time there's an arrow, there's literally like 3 people that I have that on for. So I'm like, okay, it's either this, Elio Trades, it's probably Giancarlo or someone else. So I appreciate making those this content. Hell yeah, man. Thanks for your time. Yeah, 100%. Guys, if you're in Spaces, bottom right icon, if you enjoyed this conversation, retweets, likes, shares, make sure you follow Giancarlo. Make sure you have his notifications on Twitter, especially, as well as YouTube, but mainly Twitter because of the thing he talked about tomorrow. And if you're on YouTube, thank you so much for being here. Smash the like, subscribe. I have his stuff down below in the description. Code word midnight for Midnight Labs. Nice. Want to know more about Giancarlo? That's probably a good place to start. And yeah, until next time, continue on your Joyage. Continue